Trisha, Amy, Marty, and Christina, all from the 2025 Flip cohort. So can we please give them a huge round of applause? Before we begin, does my volume sound okay, or would you like a microphone? Volume's okay? Thank you, Kate. Would any of you feel more comfortable holding a microphone? No?
No.
I'll leave it here. If you decide that you need it, let me know. Now, I'm going to start off with one for all of you. So I'm not going to ask every single one of you every question, because I know that that's really annoying for you guys and also the people listening. But this one I am. So I am going to need all of you to answer. And I will start with you, Trisha. First of all, just
I feel like I'm in a hot seat. Hi.
I want you to introduce yourself, and then I want you to give your elevator pitch.
Sure. Thank you.
No worries.
Hi everyone, my name is Trisha. I'm one of the dream team. Michelle's also at the front. Our idea is above board. So we're trying to reduce the casualty rate, one organisation at a time, through death by PowerPoint. Has anyone sat through horrific training or learning before? I feel for you, and you were seen. Our idea is a platform which acts as a launch pad for people who have thrown into accidental teaching or training positions, and provide them with the science and know-how to make learning stick rather than tick and flick like most compliance training is.
Well done.
Is that okay?
That was a great comment. Well done.
Thank you.
No, I'm upset that I'm going.
Amy, I'm sure yours is just as great.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amy, founder of Investorly. After spending 4 years in ASX-listed environments, I noticed that the investor relations team was often tasked with a massive job with only a small amount of people. So I created Investorly, which focuses on the administrative burden from the CEO and taking it on so they can be consistent with their investors. I haven't been in an elevator for a while.
Hi everyone, my name is Marty Lee from Renew Living. I'm a verified social and environmental enterprise, and I help connect eco-minded people to a network of local sustainable solutions and the networks that are from communities across Australia who are already doing great things for a healthier planet. And the way that I do that is through storytelling and community building and workshops and events.
Oh, so good.
I love the pause.
Yeah, presence.
And I'm also a podcast host. That's a part of the storytelling.
Thanks, Marty. And Christina.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina. So I am the founder of Travel Bites. So through the Flip program, I developed a concept to bring all those empty seats on, our tour operators across Newcastle to you. So to locals who live in the area, want last minute opportunities to jump on activities with your mates. But since Flip, actually, I've pivoted a little bit, which if you join the Flip program, there are definitely a few pivots, but they're fun ones. And I've gone back to my roots, actually, back to swim teaching, and I'm doing a few innovative approaches in that space. So stay tuned for June.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. I'm so proud of you. So something that we obviously focus on in the Flip program is being able to communicate not only what you're interested in or what your idea is, but also what value you're creating. And we do that through our elevator pitching. So I did throw you guys in the deep end being like, do it again. 6 months later. Well done. So like I mentioned, last year was our very first cohort of Flip. So Flip is our female leadership innovation program, if you're brand new to what that is. And some people up here on the panel, I know from having conversations, were pretty nervous about applying. They weren't really sure whether they were the right fit for the program. They weren't really sure if the program was the right fit for them. And then some other people on the panel were very excited about it and were like, I'm just keen to give it a go. So I wanted to ask all of you, I'm going to start with you again, Trisha, what made you apply to Flip, and was it an easy decision?
Okay, so yourself actually nudged me to do it. I had these stats in the back of my head, which is always at the back of my head for ever since high school, which is it needs to be perfect to start, which is so frustrating. So I kept on pushing it back, the application, I might not get in, it's too hard, all the excuses in the book. And it got to the point where the application was due within 5 hours. So I remember you messaging me and being like, I can see that you've started your application. Are you going to do it? It was sort of stalkery vibes, but I really appreciate it. And I was like, you know what? I do love a caramello koala. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy myself a caramello koala. I'm going to put it by the laptop, and then once I finish it, I'm going to eat it. And that was the best caramello koala I've ever had. Like the application was really easy and straightforward. I think it's separating yourself, like you know your idea best and what's in your head. People don't know it yet. So even if you feel like you miss elements of it, that's a perfect stage to be at. I think if you were to apply and you felt like really confident that you had all the answers, you're actually at a bit of a disadvantage, because I think like every single week there was something that changed in that program, which I really appreciated. So actually applying with that unfinished concept was really like made me feel really actually confident in the end, at the end of Flip.
Oh, I'm glad to hear.
That's okay.
I think it's really interesting as well because I know you didn't mention this, but Trisha had already started a company prior to Flip, so this is not her first rodeo. And so I thought it would be a really easy decision for you. I was like, you've done this before, this sounds great. And you were like, no.
No, it made me feel sick. Every time you apply, like it still makes you feel sick, because it's that thing of like, oh, I might not get selected, but at the end of the day, like who cares, just have a crack at it. And yeah, best decision I made in 2025.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope it's your best decision in 2026.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Trisha. Amy.
So I was in a really stressful job prior to applying for Flip, and I'd quit and I was unemployed for 8 months thinking about this idea. Got a new job which was super boring, and then an email come through on that new job inbox, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Sat on it for 3-4 weeks, however long it was open for, so sorry. And then got really, really sick the last week of the applications were over, and I hadn't applied yet. And then I was like laying in bed, like dying, like man flu. And then I thought, well, I either have to apply as is or I miss out, and then I keep thinking about the idea. And so I peeled myself from bed, jumped on the laptop, recorded it in one go. Which even at the end I was like, I'm so sorry, like I'm so sick, this is it. Submitted it, went to bed, and then within a couple of days, weeks, got the yes. And I was like, wow, like best decision I ever made too, which was good. But yeah, it was super like last minute in a sense, but like good, even though I was really unwell. She's
also underselling herself. Her application was awesome. I couldn't, other than the end of the video where she said, I'm sick, sorry about this. I couldn't tell. So, underselling, but yes. Thanks. That's okay. Well done. Thank you, Amy. Marty.
I left my employee job in February last year with the purpose that I had this idea for Renew Living. It had been worked as a side hobby for a long time, and I thought, no, you know what? To make this work as a business, I actually need to invest some time into making it into a business. Otherwise, it would just sit there as a side hobby the whole time. I was really disenchanted throughout the year by applying for grants and applying for awards and applying for whatevers and getting 0 and negative and just going, this is just crap. I'm really tired and exhausted from applying all of my energy into this and everything becoming a big no for me. And then I think I came to what you're here tonight and went, oh, the vibe in the room was really outstanding and felt very different. I suppose when you apply for a grant and whatever else, you don't get that in the room. And it was just from that I went, you know what, I'm just going to give this a crack. And if it gets to be a no, it's another no, another one to notch up in the 2025 no bucket. And I was pretty stoked to hear that I got the yes. And it gave me a lot of confidence to know that I can actually do something, that my idea is valid and it's possible. So that's where I came through for Flip, and it was a decision that, don't regret.
Oh, God. Thank you, buddy. Christina.
So I think for me, I keep having this magnet to I2N events. I don't know why. But Maggie, I'm looking at you because I know you're from one of the innovation challenges that we've been part of. But again, just the email inbox. It just keeps popping in, and innovation challenge, Flip program, and your click rates are really good for me, I'm sure, because I keep opening it and going, ooh, do I, don't I? And so I actually had and Taylor, actually I don't think I've told you this, and I can top all of your late submissions too, which I think you have the stats for that. But I had a 3-hour conversation with one of my best friends and I went, okay, I'm thinking of doing this program. What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? So I actually came in from the opposite, where I really love coming to I2N because it's really warm, because I feel really welcome, but I didn't necessarily have the idea, and I think it's because I keep putting pressure on myself that I've always done the high school uni job, and so I haven't really given myself room to explore or think differently about what else is out there. And I think coming to I2N, it's always given me that opportunity to think differently, and I think particularly in the roles I've worked in that have been quite hierarchical, it's been nice going, hey, but what if? And so I submitted it 11:59, and I don't regret it at all. It was one of the best things I've ever done, and after 3 innovation challenges, I can say flip-top them all. It was really cool.
Awesome. What I did want to say about you, Christina, was that Christina and I had a very interesting conversation in week 1 where Christina was like, why did you accept my application, essentially? She was like, I'm not even really sure of the idea that I have. I just know that I probably want to be a founder or a co-founder, without using those words, but that I want to work on something with somebody, but I just never am the person that has the idea. I just like to work on someone else's. And I said to Christina, that's actually why we accepted her into the Flip program. And she was one of the only people that we did accept into the last year's cohort that didn't really have an idea. And you can't see that in your video of like, I'm not even sure if this is it, but like, this is just what I have right now. And I wanted to say that because it was so interesting and so fulfilling for us to watch you kind of go through that program and be like, I still don't know if this is the idea, but you grew so much. And then by the end of it, you were like, I pivoted. And I feel like you were quite nervous to be like, I pivoted. We were like, awesome! Like, that's so cool. And the reason I wanted to mention that is that programs like Flip or pre-accelerator programs are not designed for you to have the perfect idea for then you to build and create this huge business. If that happens, that is awesome, and like that's a byproduct of a lot of work that you've put in and a lot of other things to go right. But at the end of the day, Flip and other pre-accelerator programs are there to help you validate the idea and then fail fast. If it does not work, do it faster. I don't want you to spend years of your life or like thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. But the point is that the skills that you learn during a program like this get you to the end where you go, it doesn't matter what idea I have, because I can apply them all now. And so it was really cool to have you in the program and also to watch you pivot at the end. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Christina. The next question I'm going to ask to, actually you, Christina. I'm not going to ask all of you unless you feel like you'd like to share, but Christina, what's something that felt impossible in week 1 that feels normal now?
I wouldn't say it feels normal, but to be on this panel. For a story, and I hope you haven't all remembered this, and Marty, I do remember your face at this event, but at the speed networking session, Taylor, you're nodding, you remember this, unfortunately. We went around the room, Storm, bless, was like, all right, everyone introduce yourselves. I was ready to, as you are, sit down and just listen. I wasn't ready with anything. I'd literally turned up and gone, okay, cool, great. Listen, have some snacks, have a glass of something. But Storm goes, hey, introduce yourselves. And I froze really badly to the point where there was an empty seat next to me. Someone came in and I was like, hey, sit here, because they would have gone before me. But then I didn't realize the line had progressed so quickly that they were next. And so I'd caused so much more of a problem for myself where, like, looking back now, I was like, that was silly. But I couldn't have done this. And so I've done so many leadership programs, but Flip has been the one that's stuck. And instead of just clicking through e-learns, it's actually practicing the things that, I wouldn't have been able to do this. And it sounds absolute marketing pitch, and this is not an MLM, but highly recommend. It's made such a difference.
I actually
That's your quote, not an MLM.
Not an MLM. I'm going to use that as a tagline for Flip. Thank you. I actually don't remember that at all, so I clearly didn't have that thought. But what on the back of that, I wasn't going to ask you, Amy, but I do want to share that when I asked Amy to be on this panel, I sent them all emails, obviously to ask them to be on the panel. And aside from the email chain, Amy messaged me privately on Slack and said, I just vomited. And I said, are you going to do it though? And she said, 100%. And for me, it was like the epitome of like, you wouldn't have done that first day.
No, I would have told you to go away. No, thank you.
But what's something that felt impossible in week 1 for you, Amy, that feels normal now?
I think actually talking to people, it's so funny, like I've been in an EA sort of role for 10 to 12 years now. So like I'm used to talking to executives of global companies, investors all over the world. But talking to someone about myself is terrifying. Terrifying. And here I am talking about it. Yeah, I'm fine.
That leads actually into my next question, which was, what's the most uncomfortable moment of the program for you? And I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, can I talk about that though?
Yeah.
Is that not like a secret? So I am a solo founder. So when we did this particular day, we had to sort of venture out and go and talk to people. Terrifying. And I didn't sort of have anyone to like hold my hand or talk to, like go and do this with. And so I ventured on down to a hotel, found somebody to talk to. Well, I didn't really. I was talking to the receptionist. And then this person had overheard me talking about my idea and was like, oh my God, I'd love to have a chat with you, but I'm about to leave, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, great. And then like wandered back, and Taylor thought I'd just gone to my old work. And I was like, no, actually, I actually did it. But then afterwards, like I was so sweaty and I was so nervous. Even like probably an hour after it, I think for the whole afternoon, like I was just like awful. Anyway, that particular person thing didn't turn out to be a potential client, but it was, let's say, life-changing. It was good. It was like character progression or something.
Yeah. And I think that was like week 7 of the program, and we had 9 weeks last year. And the change that I saw in Amy from after that moment was huge. She was like, well, if I could do that, well, I can do anything. And that was really cool to see. So, yes, I know it didn't work out, but it's fine. It's all good. Trisha, what's the most useful piece of feedback that you got during Flip, even if it stung? And it doesn't have to be from me or Kellen, it could be from one of the coaches, it could be from a customer.
Yeah, so I think the word no really stung initially because like in just throwing out ideas, you're so passionate about your idea and you're like, this is the best idea ever, like I'm so stoked for it. And when we started interviewing people, like I was interviewing really cool people in the space around GYG. There's people who get paid to design learning on how to make the best burrito, which is like the coolest job ever. And when you start talking about your idea and then people come back with feedback like, oh, I'm not sure if that would work, or, just edged feedback in terms of like just dampening, I think that was really hard, but it's turned out to be like the best sort of feedback you can get. I know that sounds really cliched when you hear negative feedback will make you stronger, but it actually helps you find better solutions to the problem. Like I literally drove down from Brisbane this morning and like I was talking to a client who had some not bad feedback, but feedback about like a user experience. And I still had that gutted feeling of like, oh, I failed. But within that like 6-hour drive, I found like a solution from it, which I know is going to be like, can it be applied to all my clients? And I think Flip really put you in that position, like you just talked about, Amy, where you're literally thrown into the depths of just throwing out your idea and seeing what sticks. And you just get used to it, framing it as a conversation and more as like a clue and fact-finding mission. I'm a fan of Carmen Sandiego back in the day, so I think I've shifted that mindset of like, oh, these are just clues to get me to a better result, rather than this is someone questioning my value or giving me bad feedback as a person, and separating that has been so valuable. Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah,
and also it's like I like that you just mentioned the fact that although you still feel crappy when you get feedback,
it's crap. Yeah.
Seeing it as like a problem that you can now solve.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's just a clue. Yeah.
It's like, what can I do? And now everyone else will be better off for it. So
for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Marty.
Feedback. Oh, this is one of those questions that I struggled with. I don't know whether I think the whole thing about Flip is that feedback was continuous. And it sort of came in the form of just general discussion and bouncing ideas off each other and hearing different perspectives. And I think that all of that combined then becomes the feedback from it as well. In addition to talking to potential clients or customers or whoever your target audience is, and getting that feedback from them as well.
Great, thank you. I'm going to ask this to all of you, starting with Christina. I was really excited about this question. What's the most ridiculous thing that you've Googled since starting your business?
So this is the one question I went, So can I flip it and say, what have I put into an AI tool to try and solve? I think for me, so I don't come from a business background, but Flip has given me some really great tools to kind of figure out the financing side of things. And I think some of my tax questions are a bit silly. Like, I've only ever worked for someone else, so I think even just the idea of how do I write an invoice sometimes can be quite daunting. So it's probably my most ridiculous thing, which is probably not even that ridiculous at all, but no, I had to end up asking my sister, and she's younger than me. So there we go, got my answer from someone I know. Yeah, I haven't really got a crazy big one. I think Trisha, have you got a few? I know I'm jumping this way, only because you mentioned it. She mentioned she looked at her history, she pre-researched.
Yeah, I did.
Pre-research, and then I had that one as well, because like that was a tricky one. It's like, how do you differentiate between Google and AI these days? And I sort of feel like I'm so old school that when Google first came out, I think I was trying to treat Google like AI, so maybe I was ahead of the game. But ridiculous things in Google, no, I'm a straight shooter, right? And so I don't have ridiculous things in my Google history. But what I did find out, and this is where my parliamentary marketing spin is going to come into effect. No, I'm not a parliamentarian, but you know how politicians do this, is that rather than Google, it came from the cohort. So in one of the sessions that we had, it was about giving each other feedback. And at the end of one of the sessions, there were these pictures that we had to look at the picture, and then relate it to the person that you were talking to directly. And Trisha is the person, she's my human Google for this particular one, because as part of that feedback, she said that I was like a carrican. And of course, it's like, what on earth is that? I have never heard of a carrican. It feels like something that I should know. So instead of Googling it, I got Trisha to explain it to me.
Do I have to explain it now? No, I'll do it later.
So from what I understand, a carrican is a seedling perhaps after a fire that promotes regrowth, and bursts lots of energy and other kind of growth.
That's fine, yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, it's like her idea. It's just a metaphor for her idea.
It's like a metaphor, but like I didn't have to search in Google. Again, I'm very a people-focused person. So you learn a lot from people, and I think that's a part of being in the Flip program, is you're learning a lot from people.
Thank you, Marty. Amy, do you have
Not really. I'm so perfect.
all the time, so I was like, surely you guys have something.
No, I don't know. I mean, I had to Google like how long to cook an egg for like a soft boil the other day, but like outside of that, like nothing super ridiculous, except I could imagine if I like went through my like ChatGPT history, it would be like, oh my gosh, why would I ask that?
Maybe in hindsight, everyone just has to bring up their like history.
Yeah.
Trisha, do you have one?
Yeah, two things. We had a really great finance session. So after that finance session, I searched explain superannuation as if I was a 12-year-old, which was really clear answer. And then the other piece was which actually really helped me with my pitch and formulating my ideas and articulation of my idea later on, was I searched what have people equated e-learning compliance training to, like experience? And it actually popped up on Reddit, and like highly recommend if you want to laugh. Like some of the things that people equate e-learning training to was root canal dental. It was spending 2 weeks with your mother-in-law, like on a holiday. And that sort of led me to what Marty was saying around those conversations. I was like, oh, let's like take this to the people, these questions. And I had these amazing group of NRLW athletes who were doing some financial compliance training. And I was like, so like, ladies, like what would you compare this experience to? And one of them was like, yeah, I'd rather have a pap smear. So I was like, it was actually really great exercise in terms of like, these are the touch points of what people are feeling. And if I can articulate that when I talk to people, like I can solve the feeling of a pap smear and make your e-learning the best thing that you've ever experienced. Like that sounds like a pretty compelling like pitch. So yeah.
I'm picturing that in your 5-star Google review. Yeah.
I'm working on it. Yeah. That's my dream. That's my dream. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, then the next one might be a bit easier for all of you to answer. And you don't all have to, but if someone has an answer, what's a tool, app, or trick that you've started using that you'd recommend to anyone in the room?
I got one.
Yes.
This is my favourite question. You should have asked me this instead of the other one. So I started a Notion called My Second Brain. And it was honestly the best thing ever because anything we got, and yes, we did get a few pieces of paper just to get off computers, and I just put it straight in there. And oh my gosh, life-saving. So all my bits of paper, popped it in there, all my notes, any comments, any feedback, you know, bits and pieces, where are we supposed to be and when, popped it all in there. Love it. I'm obsessed. So if you want a demo, I'm happy to talk your ear off and tell you all about it. If not, lovable too. Of what Notion? Notion is like, so you know when you are at the shops and you get your notes app out and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy a potato, I'm going to buy this and that and that, and then you lose that note and forget where it is and you forget that you've written it. Notion is like a hub for all your notes. You can customize it, so if you want to be really simple, you can just type, you know, text in, you can type a shopping list, you can type your to-do list, or you can put a table in there and you might add in, you know, an Excel formula, you can link to different places. And so my second brain was essentially, and you know the barefoot investor, he's got the bucket system. I had that for my notes. So it was like, all right, flip. I've got some admin I need to do. I've got, you know, my other job stuff. I've got taxes to do. I just bucketed it all, and you just tag them, and it's life-changing.
I actually Googled that today. What is Notion? There you go.
Yeah. So it's an app, a web app you can download on your laptop. Again, I'll give you a demo. Happy to. Just.
Yeah, we could. Thank you. Does anyone else have one you wanted to share?
Oh, I learnt about Prompt Cowboy. Like, oh my goodness, have you ever heard of that? Okay, so it's a great tool that I learned as part of the Flip program, and I think I've just reached my maximum limit before I have to do a paid version. But that's great because it gives you, like, you just type in all of your brain dump stuff, and then it, I don't know, looks like 2 pages worth of this is how you should say it properly to AI, and then you shoof it into AI, whatever tool you use for that, and then it spits out something that feels more wholesome or more targeted to what you're asking for. So I do like Prompt Cowboy.
The interesting thing today, Marty, is during the AI session today with Nick, he actually, and I came to his AI session only a month ago, he talked a lot about Prompt Cowboy, and he now said that it's just been, it's removed because
so quick.
Claude has gone past that,
Right.
for example,
Yes.
and actually does all of that for you.
Yes.
You don't need to go Prompt
Yeah.
Cowboy.
Yeah. There you go. So already I'm behind the times. But you know, I still like my brainstorming paper and pen map. Oh, do you? Okay. So I'm not too old school yet.
I like when it says we're lassoing answers for you. Like,
My favourite thing is
it's
when
just
your
cute.
life depends on it. It's like you must find this like your life depends on it.
What I really like about Prompt Cowboy is that if it still doesn't really understand what you're asking of it, it'll ask you extra questions.
Yeah.
And I love when it asks me questions. I'm like, yes, let me give you more information. It's so good. Never tried it. Give it a go. Even if it's redundant now, it's really good. Let's go. Thank you, buddy. Do you guys have one?
I was Prompt Cowboy, but then when Nick said that this morning, I was like, oh, amazing, I'm just a Claude girl. I've only just signed up to that too.
Yeah, nice.
I would say Gamma's been really a big change for me. I think Kate introduced me to it. Is Kate here?
Yeah, she's the back.
Hey, so I think that's been really good at a bit of a thought partner. Sometimes, like, because I work remotely and sometimes by myself, I just sort of need like a bit of a thought partner of how to articulate things in a very clear way. And since I've been using Gamma, which is basically just like slide decks integrated with AI, and obviously you can use all those prompting elements, I can definitely say it's probably saved me like maybe 3 hours a week on slide decks or anything to do with content writing. And I can definitely say that it's like helped me secure clients faster. So I think what's really good at Flip, there's 2 pieces around, it gives you really great ideas around mindset, how you think, how you approach business ideas. And then it just gives you like some really practical tools that you can just use regardless, beyond quotes of like, believe in yourself. It's actually like, believe in yourself and actually use this to like cut your copywriting time in half and get like money from your idea. So I really appreciate that all throughout the program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really really nice. I also just want to say I didn't tell them to all be really nice about the program. And I actually don't have this question on here, but just based on how much you guys are praising the program, I'd like to know what you think the hardest part of the program was. What's something that you felt was really challenging or that you struggled a bit with? And it doesn't have to have and then it got better. Like it could just be it was hard or you found it challenging, because there are going to be people here who will apply for the program who will also find it challenging. And so it'd be nice to hear what you found. And I know I didn't brief you on that, so.
Okay, I've got one. Okay, so it's the challenge. Everything with a challenge always has to come with a positive, right? So one of the challenging things was the accountability. And then that's also the positive part, because especially like Amy, I'm a solopreneur, solo founder. So the accountability was really important, but it was also a challenge because, you had a goal and you had a mission to do each week, and there are things that were more difficult for you to think about that if I was at home by myself, I'd just go, okay, I'm just going to put that off to the side because that's too hard basket. But then that was the challenge, but also the good things that came out of that.
Thanks, Marty. That's a great one. Anyone else?
I would nearly sort of echo that. I think just from the timing of the actual program to what my actual idea was as well was smack bang in the middle of reporting season for public listed companies. So everybody that I was reaching out to do like customer validation, I just heard crickets. And that was really, really hard, because then I'd come to the coaching sessions or I'd come to the next week and I'd have sort of nothing done. And so then obviously having nothing done, I was like internally stressing, and then kind of felt like I wasn't really progressing very much or as quickly as everyone else. So you kind of get like those negative thoughts like, oh gosh, I'm not going to do very well. And then probably about week 6, I think it was, I had all these meetings in like a week, like all these people said yes to me. So I had like all the no's and I was like, all right, yeah, cool, no's are fun. And then I had all these yeses all at once. And then I kind of just went on a rocket ship. And Kate here, she wanted to shake me at some point because I was just, I just wasn't moving anywhere, and it was just so frustrating. But yeah, I guess positive at the end, just gotta be patient.
Yeah. I feel like that's a really good one, because that's something that we could never anticipate in regards to what people's ideas are and how accessible customer discovery is going to be for you in that exact moment. So that was actually really helpful of a learning for us as well. Thanks, Amy.
So I think something that I thought would be a bigger problem than it was actually fitting it around my full-time role. So and this is probably answering one of the other questions, is I always thought to be a founder, you have to quit your job, have money come in from somewhere, get into someone's garage, find a few mates, start something. But no, turns out you can in fact just chip away at it in your own time. And so I think one of the first weeks actually we did this activity where we had to look at our week and as we went through each day, find little pockets of time, where you're doom scrolling, where you're cooking dinner, where you at work, where you're doing, going for a walk with friends, blah, 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 and looking at where in your week to actually fit in the doing. And I think for me, I was really fortunate, and I am really fortunate that I had a workplace that was very comfortable with me taking the time to come into Flip, because it was a professional development program as well as, the entrepreneurship side. But for me, I already had a 4-day work week and I was already working flexibly. So besides, looking at opportunities to make sure I, followed any conflict of interest procedures as well, having the time to then be able to be flexible with my lunch break to fit in the mentoring session, for example, and then the Flip team being really flexible with that as well, and we're able to choose what time on which day, which we're all on the Tuesday, but that was something that I thought would be a bigger challenge, because I always thought that I couldn't do both. And like I said earlier, I did the high school, uni job, and so to be able to actually go, hey, hang on a minute, I can do this. And I think that was one of the things that I'd made a barrier for so long until I started coming to I2N things and events that kind of had changed that perception for me. Because otherwise things we were such a beautiful cohort that life kept going. I had a heap of life admin that popped up, halfway through the program that I was clutching at straws sometimes trying to find minutes to do things, but if you're motivated and want to do it, you will find the time, and not sacrificing sleep. I still got my 8 hours, trust me. That's my priority, but you will find the time if you are motivated and passionate by your idea.
That's a great one. Thank you for sharing, Sina. Anyone else?
I would say For me, it would be vulnerability. I think coming from a corporate sector, when you go to any sort of meeting with more than you in the room, there's an expectation that you show your game face and that everything's going well. But it was really refreshing to jump on like mentor calls and be like, start the conversation with, I got another parking fine. Super annoying, and then go into maybe like a really small win or something that maybe just didn't work out for you. Like, of course, there was some really great stellar achievements throughout the program. Marty, like, didn't you have like 5,000 interviews in one? That was like amazing.
5,000.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Zyora got like an engagement with Mecca. Like, that was so cool, but it was also just, yeah, like this didn't work out. And then, yeah, just having that space is really refreshing. I think in this sort of climate, only the success stories get the spotlight or advertised, so it's quite refreshing being like, no, last week sucked. Like, it really, really sucked. So that was, yeah. I mean, after week 6, killed it. But yeah, the vulnerability was great. Yeah, allowing that.
That's a really great point, because I think what we also found really interesting in the program was that, like, if I haven't mentioned this already, Flip is the mix between a pre-accelerator and a leadership program, right? So there are so many parts of it that are very business focused and that get you really ready to kind of start building a business. But a lot of what we focused on in Flip, because we felt like it was valuable for women at the very early stage, was looking at all of those internal barriers, looking at the external barriers, looking at what stops you based on yourself, like what are you stopping yourself from doing and why. And although we designed it like that, the emotions that came through in a lot of those sessions were so vulnerable and so beautiful and honest that even Kellen and I left sometimes and we were like, we want to cry. Like, it wasn't even about us, but like people would cry, some people would just be really angry about something that, you know, has happened to them previously. And then by the end of the session be like, I just had a breakthrough moment and I feel so good. And so then the next session is a win, right? Or the next 2 are crap, and then the next one after that was a win. And so the vulnerability was actually my favorite part of the program, was just watching people who come in so confident, including yourself.
Just watching me cry. You enjoyed that?
It does sound like that.
That's okay.
But watching so many people who come in who do have that game face, which is a lot of them on day one, you know, showed up a bit nervous, but like, I'm in this program. Yeah, a lot. And we had 12 teams and 19 people, right? And so majority of those people came in very confident. And then I would say at least out of the 19 people, I have to say at least 15 of them cried in the program. Like, a lot of them. And that's not making Flip look very good. Yeah, but my point is that there are so many reasons to join a program, for whether it's an accelerator or a pre-accelerator, but there is double that to join Flip, because there are so many different things that you can get out of it business-wise and personally. And it is a professional development at the end of the day, but it's also a very huge personal development. But to kind of touch on what you all said, you have to be ready for that. Because if you're not ready to grow professionally and personally, it probably isn't the program for you, because it will happen, which is great, but can be hard and challenging.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I think that that's so valid to include the emotional journey that you go on, because it's 99% really of the startup phase. Why has that not been included in the pre-accelerator?
I think...
Is it because of a female thing, do you think? That's more receptive by women?
It's in the accelerator, so we're just
Oh,
not there
yeah.
yet.
So we're all going to be crying.
No emotion allowed. You've still got 6 weeks.
That we call Cry Week. And it seems very collective, like, boiling point of the cohort where everyone's just had it. And
Ooh.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It sounds fun.
You guys are through it too.
But I mean, to answer that question, there is parts of leadership that come up in the pre-accelerator, like there's an entire day on it, very similar to what we do in Flip. But I think that it was tenfold in Flip, because when we designed it, like, we were very fortunate in the fact that we could design this program from scratch, and we got to do a lot of what you would do building a business, which is research and interviewing and customer discovery of the people like these guys who would join the program and understand what they need. And from that, we learned that a lot of that is like, how do I build confidence? How do I set boundaries? How do I tell myself that it's okay to cry in a meeting or get frustrated? And so a lot of those points came up so often in our research that we were like, okay, well, half the program needs to be about that, because there's so many women who aren't even applying for a pre-accelerator program the way that it is currently designed and the way that it is currently marketed, because a lot of the pre-accelerators are very similar. Ours is the best, but they're all very similar. in what they teach. And so a lot of women were saying, I don't even want to apply for an accelerator program because that already feels too out of reach. So for us, it was like, what can we include in a program that we don't like market as a pre-accelerator program, that you're still learning a lot of the same things, but you also then feel confident enough to apply for any other program or any other grant or go for funding and things like that. And then because of the amount of work that you have to do for yourself personally, and that obviously leads to a very emotional journey for a lot of people. For some people, it's like, this is the easiest thing ever. I'm so confident, and I'm just excited to be in a cohort of women. But I think also we didn't design Flip to be a pre-accelerator. We never called it that last year, and the only reason we're calling it that now is because last year was obviously a pilot. It was our first one, and so we left a lot of room for the cohort to tell us what the program is, not the other way around. And so by the end of it, we did a lot of work with the feedback that we got from the cohort and the coaches to then be like, what actually is this program? And it's now obviously very much a pre-accelerator in the fact that almost everyone except Christina joined the program with a very big business idea that they'd already kind of had, which that's what makes it a pre-accelerator. It's just that you're coming in with an idea. We've made changes this year too, so it might not be as emotional, it might be more business focused, but I can't guarantee that. But it's a good question though. Yeah.
Huge.
Are you in the pre-accelerator? Is that what you asked?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, it's coming for you, I promise.
I think it's super special that you run Flip for women. I remember reading a study, it's kind of on the same link, where one of the reasons men get promoted is because they're willing to say or have the confidence that they don't actually have, but pretend to, whereas women tend to say, no, I'll wait till I feel that confidence before I apply. That was one of the big kind of pivot points of why men get certain roles and women don't, is that we're going, well, I don't feel fully qualified, I'll wait, whereas women say, I'm not fully qualified and I'll pretend I am.
Yeah.
So just have that space for
to
cry one day.
Absolutely. That study made me so sad, and it's a huge reason why Flip exists, because we were why is that? We don't want people to feel like that. And a lot of the, in the leadership session, which I don't want to spoil because you'll end up doing, but there is a task where you have to kind of identify yourself as a leader from 1 to 10, and watching even the change on one day from how people identified themselves as a leader at the beginning to the very end was fascinating. So good luck with that. Report back to me how you go. Yeah, great question, thank you. I'm going to ask one more and then we can hand over to the crowd in case anyone else wants to ask a question. But it's actually 2 questions, I'm just going to put them into one. What do you think is the difference between the woman who applied for Flip and the woman who's sitting here right now? And then alongside that, there's a lot of women in the crowd who are thinking about applying for Flip, and what do you think is one thing they should know?
So I'll go first. When I applied for Flip, I had just an idea that I'd sat on for 12, 18 months. I was employed, and just last week I finished up with my full-time employment, and I am now I am now the founder of Investorly, full-time. And I would not have been able to do that without joining this program and I'd probably still be sitting on the lounge going, oh, I want to do that app, I want to do that, that company. So that's obviously a massive, big difference. And what was the second question?
That's a huge win. Thank you.
Massive.
I was so excited, and I call her a full-time flipper now.
Yeah.
If you join the program, you become a flipper, and so just a full-time flipper. Yeah. Well done. That's huge. And I think, even just this wasn't the question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. The number one question that I get from people who are wanting to build a business and they want to ask other founders a question, they always say, when did you decide to go full-time? When do you know that now is the chance to take that risk and quit your job? And what was it for you?
I was super lucky in being able to secure a large ongoing contract. But I'd been working with that same client for 6 months prior on just sort of, little bits here and there. So we'd sort of been talking about it probably for a month. And then it just kind of got to the point where I was working obviously full time, and then I was like, okay, I can't do both and have my brain here and then have my brain here because I'm thinking about this stuff over here, and now I'm making mistakes everywhere. So for me it was like, okay, you just got to go all in. And I guess I'm probably also extremely fortunate. I don't have a mortgage, I don't have kids, so it's kind of like now or never. There's nothing really holding me back. If it doesn't work, I'll just go back to, working full time for somebody else, which I definitely won't be doing. I've already made that decision. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of things in my favour, I guess. I don't know that I would feel as confident if I had that mortgage and kids. But yeah, it was kind of now or never. And then when I quit, a person at work was like, oh, I wish I did that. And I was like, oh, that for me was like, oh my God, I've made a really good decision, because I don't want to get to that point in my life and go, I wish I did that. Like, I wish I had, made changes. I wonder what life would be if I did that now. So, yeah.
It would be crazy of me to move on without saying, I don't think it's luck at all that you received that client. You work incredibly hard, and you did a lot of work to be able to secure that full time. So I just want to make it clear you're not lucky. You did the work.
It's me talking myself down.
And then, what would you say to anyone who? What's one thing you think everyone should know at the start of the flip journey, or they're kind of on the fence?
I would say just do it. I mean, you're either going to get a yes or a no, whether you're in it or not. So that's a 50-50 chance. The no hurts, but you get better, apply next year. And just do it. Like, it's going to go one or two ways. You're either going to realize that your idea is validated and it's super cool and people want it and you can make it and build it and then quit your job. Or you're going to go through, you're going to make heaps of friends, you're going to have a really cool time, and you're going to learn things and pivot and, maybe even end up doing something completely different. Doesn't matter, because it's 10 weeks. You learn a lot about yourself. But yeah, I would just do it. And if you don't get in, try again next year. Keep trying. Okay, do the pre-accelerator then. Yeah, do something else. But yeah, just keep doing it, because you don't want to get to that point in your life where you're like, oh, I wish I did that.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think before flip, what you were saying, Amy, I was probably edging towards a river of settling. I was at a stage in my life where a lot of my friends are not settling down, but going into kids, buying houses, and I felt a bit of pressure around that, and also a bit of burnout from just working full-time in my own business. So I think it allowed me to fall in love with the love of the learner again, so fall in love with what my essential purpose and passion is. And I think what was also really great is it allowed me to take myself a bit less seriously. I think prior to the program, I really doubted myself from reaching out to people, even on LinkedIn, because I was like, oh, I'll do it later, or it might be silly, they might not reply. And this is going to sound really geeky, but the Brad Pitt level of person in my sector for training is the head trainer that used to be head of training at McDonald's. McDonald's just is very good at training, and I'd been putting it off. And in my last week of flip, I'm like, what have I got to lose? And reach out to this guy, and we've just been chatting and stuff. And I thought that was the coolest thing. It was my level of rock star. But I think that's carried through. And I think in terms of anyone who's applying, you essentially have two choices. You have the choice of not doing it, where nothing happens, or you choose to apply, and then 100% something will happen. So yeah. Choose wisely, I'd say. Yeah.
It feels like a threat.
Yeah, it is a threat.
Thank you, Trisha. Marty?
I think I gained confidence, but that sounds a bit blasé just saying that, doesn't it? But what the program has done for me has meant that this year is my year of giving everything a go. Because I am in the sustainability field, which I came with major assumptions that no one is going to pay for what I do because it's about sustainability, and why should you pay for that? So that was my major assumption. And going from the flip programming and going, okay, now I have got goals. And your goals don't have to happen immediately. Amy has done an amazing job, but my goal is not just about immediate profit growth. It's about the depth and the breadth of relationships and that longer term goal of making my business work. I'm in a position where I can do that. And so for me, it's the year of giving things a go. So when I was fortunate enough to be one of the chosen people to do a pitch, which was pretty nerve-wracking, I had to think about, as part of the program, we had to think about what will my business look like going forward. And so this year it's like, I'm just going to give everything a go. And so far I have. There's been some personal setbacks, so I can't go by that. My long-term goal is I'm going to have an online community of sustainability. So they call that sort of like a community of practice. I haven't yet reached that goal yet, still like a lot of working through. It's a long-term thing. But my shorter-term goals have been about having like love local events. And I had my first one last week, and it was really well received and well praised, and it's given me the confidence, and here we go back to the confidence thing, it's given me the confidence to go, you know what, people do actually pay for sustainability. But the FLIP program helped me to refine that and say, what does that actually look like? So for me, sustainability equals the localness of things and that huge community effort that we need to do it together, and the joy of having been treading lighter on the planet together is much more joyful than doing it alone. So all of that kind of stuff, I wouldn't have come to that conclusion without coming to the FLIP program. So yeah, it's of confidence and extreme value to what I do. So yeah, this is my year of giving everything a go, seeing what works.
Well done, Marty. Thank you.
And what would I do? And what was the next question about applying? So the next bit about applying is, of course, yes, just do it. But when you do your applications, you can have your idea, but also it's really important to speak from the heart. Are you really invested in this personally? Because that is the way to add to your application. I don't know whether that was what the decision was for that, but it's the only way I can do it. Grant applications, I can't speak from the heart from a grant application, but this one I could. So.
Thanks, Marty. That's a great advice.
Can I have a question refresh?
Yeah, of course.
So beautiful, thank you.
The question was, how different do you think you are from when you started the FLIP program to now? So what's changed? And what's some advice that you would give to anyone who's wanting to apply?
So a piece of feedback that I've gotten forever is be more confident. And so I think I always had assumed, and it's very blasé, and just do it, just do it. But I think, and Kate, this is a shout out to you, but the JFDI, just effing do it. I think I started just doing things and asking for forgiveness afterwards, which sounds really cheesy, but for me, I love knowing things. And that stat about people, and women especially, knowing everything about a job before they apply, that's me. If you ask me a question, I will find the answer. I'm really good. Yeah. I will find the answer. And so it was shifting from that, I need to know everything, I've read every policy for what I can do here and there in Newcastle, but actually going, hey, I'm going to give it a go. If anyone pulls me up on it, we'll talk about it, and then we'll look at the official procedures from there. Maybe don't use that for your own business. But I think for me, going back to my roots, and that's what's changed, is that you go along the journey and you come to your conclusion where it turns out I should have been doing the thing that I've been doing for 9 years that I love. And so I think, and a fun fact about me is I've had 30 different jobs. Some have been out of, coming to Newcastle, not having a car, not having a license, starting from scratch somewhere new. But instead, along those roles, I actually worked at GYG as well, shout out. I do roll a good burrito. It was 10 years ago, but it sticks. I can still roll a really good burrito. But essentially I've gone back to even a part-time, casual role that I've loved, that I've stuck with. And look, I still teach aqua aerobics, I love it. But I think going back to the roots of why I did that role I did as a swimming teacher, and looking at, the opportunities there and breaking out of that cookie cutter mold is what I've done differently, and giving that a go with friends, family, and just doing it. And I think, so what I'd say is JFDI, just to not swear on paper, but also trust your gut. And I think that's where I did have that 3-hour conversation with one of my closest friends, and that's where friends are like, yeah, that's a great idea, that's awesome, do it, to everything, because they want to back you and they want to support you. But sometimes you've got to go out and talk to the customers and talk to real people, and that's where FLIP for me, I pivoted a lot, but I think ultimately it sent me back in the direction I should have started with, but I didn't trust my gut to start with. And so that's what I'd say has changed. And I think if that's something I'd say to you is, if you've got an idea, just run with that. Don't try and pivot and analyse the market yet. Just start, put the application in, even if it's 11:59, if you want to talk tech, you can edit your YouTube video and cut things out after you submit it. Found that out. So if it's a little bit too long, because I have to do a YouTube video this year? Yeah. So if it's a little bit too long, you can cut it afterwards. Come and chat to me. But yeah, just get it in. You can make the rest happen afterwards.
Oh, that was really great. Thank you. Can we get a really big round of applause?
Amazing.
We have like a couple of minutes for some audience questions. So if you have one that's been burning that you really want to ask one of our panelists, feel free to ask now. Yes.
Do you think through the program you learned as much about yourself as a business person as you do about your writing?
More. There was the first day I actually really struggled with. There was like, business stuff and personal stuff, and the business stuff I was like this giant big long list, and then the me thing I was like, I don't know. And I didn't finish it that day, and then I got left feeling like, oh gosh, why don't you know anything about yourself or how you feel or whatever? And then I went to the first coaching session, and I was like, help, like what is happening? But yeah, so I think that for me was like, it was confronting actually, because I was just like so, business focused, business minded, had the business plan or whatever I wanted to do there, and then the me thing, I was like, ooh. That's too much. Put that on the therapy list. But yeah, so I think I learned a lot about myself in that time too, which is nice.
Anyone else want to answer that?
Well, I think it just affirmed for me what kind of a person that I actually was and can still aspire to be as a leader and a founder. Like I was a preschool director for 20 years, so I take a lot of that learning now into my own business life. Like that was very much a systems kind of approach, even though I don't have my personal systems in place. I do have stronger boundaries with potential clients, or I know how to talk to people and put in some requests that are quite, personally, I think, I don't think I'd do that one. But from a business perspective, I feel a lot more confident to do that. And also to say no to certain things as well, or to say, sure, you don't want that for that particular price, or it's not in your budget, fine, and can wipe that away. And I feel comfortable and confident about that and quite relaxed in that personal decision, which is also a business decision as well. I don't think I would have had that beforehand.
We had an awesome session on values, and I'm sure everyone's done a values workshop before, but I think I came away from that with a really practical set of rules of what my negotiables and non-negotiables were. And I think prior to that workshop, I was just saying yes to everything because I'm like, well, I need to make this business make money, so I'm just gonna say yes to everything. Then after that, I've been everything that I return to, whether it's like a task, how I plan my week does it align with these 4 values that I created from this workshop? And Michelle can attest to this. It is like completely changed the way that we engage our clients. We have a list of dream clients now. And forever thankful for that. So I'd say just on that base level of values, it was a complete game changer for me personally.
That's a great question, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question they want to ask? Yes.
Business finances can be really, really intimidating, especially when you're really passionate about something and you want to make a positive impact, but then also, you want a profitable business and also fund a lifestyle that you want. Did any of you grapple with those feelings of passion and profit, and how do I figure out money, how do I build myself, how do I balance myself, and how do you distinguish between those two and come up with a way forward?
It's a great question.
That was one of my Google searches. I'm like, how much should I charge per hour?
I think, I feel like Amy should answer this because we have an office session where we work through this.
Yeah, I struggled with that, and I think I was kind of like, oh, well, I earn this much in my current role, like I need to be making, a little bit more, but then I'm like, oh God, that hourly rate seems crazy. Like, why would somebody pay me that? And I put it into ChatGPT and I was like, help, like what should I charge? These are my expenses, and sort of like reverse engineered it a little bit. And then it spit out like a number and I was like, oh my goodness, like that's crazy talk. then I sent it to my friend, and I was like, what do you think about this? And then her partner is a businessman, he has his own business. And he was like, oh, like way too low. You should be charging, X, Y, Z. And I was like, oh gosh, that's so terrifying. Anyways, lots of back and forth. So it was more just a me thing, because it was like what do I want to, do? And then I sent off my first amount that I was going to, like my first contract, and they didn't even bat an eyelid. They're like, yeah, cool. And I was like, oh, all that stress for nothing. Like, probably could have charged more. But yeah, I think for me it was probably like a week's worth of back and forth, like just dotting the expenses and like crossing all of your T's, making sure that everything is paid for, and then you can still live. I think that was probably one of the scariest things of quitting my full-time job, is that like I don't have annual leave, and I have sick leave, and I have job security. Hypothetically, all these clients can turn around within 30 days and say, see you later, and I would have nothing. So it's kind of also like balancing that too, and like making sure you can sort of put, a rainy day fund away for fun.
And I'd say with Flip, you can have those direct conversations, which is really refreshing. I think like when it comes to finances and business, there's that taboo subject of like, oh, we can't really talk about the monetary amount. But it was really great to just have like, do you think this is like charged enough? No, that's silly, you need to charge more. Like that's really great to have as well, because it is sort of unspoken, I'd say, in a lot of programs.